Welcome back, everybody, to the third edition of the Basement Chat, sponsored by USSSA New Jersey and Evo 9X, New Jersey's premier uniform manufacturer.
6,400 views on the last one, some great feedback. I'm not the road dog, but this is Jim Pilla from USSSA New Jersey. Next to me, if you don't know, your ass better call somebody. My main man, Rip.
Good evening, everybody.
Yep, Rip, we had 2 awesome weeks of softball to talk about. The Guillotine with 28 teams, the Co-ed NIT with 13 teams. We got to start with the top of the top, the men's open at the Guillotine. Rip, tell me about the tournament.
I thought it was a great tournament. A lot of games early on. When is it we expect them to go?
Well, we almost had the upset. You almost had the upset of the year, calling Ewing Dirt over Assassins. That was a great game in the first round.
Listen, I told you from the jump that Ewing Dirt was a team that would benefit from being at this level with the extra bumps. Almost came through fruition, but the experience of the Assassins came through late in the game.
Now, predictably, TNT and Deluxe met each other in the winner's bracket final. Got to be honest with you, Rip. Being at Mercer Field 1, definitely a little bit of that big game buzz. Would you agree?
I would say definitely had a little bit of a big game buzz. I mean, you're talking about probably the 2 premier programs in New Jersey that don't play in the USSSA conference. And teams want to come out, watch it. Fans want to see what's going on, and they want to see what kind of talent both teams have this early on in the year.
Absolutely. There were players coming from other places. Everybody wanted to be at Field 1 and watch that. It was a great game. Hats off to both your team, TNT, and Deluxe for putting on such an incredible winner's bracket final. Now, you guys were fortunate enough to get by Deluxe. Now, on the way back in the loser's bracket, Assassins took out Deluxe Bakery. Tell me about that game with Assassins you had with TNT.
The game between us and the Assassins was a good game for at least 4.5 innings. It was a solid back and forth game before we pulled away. USSSA Conference D Player of the Week, Orlando Rodriguez, was kind of giving us a little bit of fits, him and Johnny Engelman. Offensively, and Johnny as always defensively, and Augie kind of kept us off balance at times for some parts. Good back and forth game, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Assassins run and crack, and you cannot hit a ball up the middle. You know Johnny Engelman's going to turn 2 on that every time.
Yeah, you got to find out where he's at and trying to go the opposite way quickly.
Now, tell me about your team, Rip. TNT, there were some standouts. Rubel, the MVP, Crawford, a few other people. Tell me about TNT.
I thought we played exceptionally well, especially missing 2 starters, 3 actually if you count. Kenny Jr. is currently out with a hand injury, missing Todd Simo, who's also the assistant coach along with myself, and our main outfielder, Woody Darling. I thought a lot of the young kids have stepped up and played exceptionally well. Rock pitched as normally as great as he always does, and Doug Urubel, as I've told you this time before, is a wizard with the glove, turned a couple of great double plays unassisted by himself in the middle. Just an all-around great performance, and he chipped in with a lot of huge hits for us. I'm excited to see where we get when we have our full team together at a tournament to see exactly where we go going forward.
Now, Rip, in this tournament, we put in the Dudley ZN balls, which is something that some of the players had requested. In my opinion, from the director's chair, it kind of made it a little more of a softball game as opposed to the old school with the hot dogs. Tell me about the ZNs.
Jim, as I've told you in the beginning when you asked me about the ZNs, I said it's best that everybody gets used to playing with the ball they're going to use when they get to the World Tournament.
Okay.
Lets people see the exit speed off the bat, how fast the ball comes through the infield. They got to learn when to hit when there's no homers left. You get down to Florida, they're not going to throw in a hot dot late in the game because you got no homers left. You're hitting the same ball throughout. It's best teams get adjusted to it now and stop the complaining if there is any and get used to what's going on.
Absolutely. So, Rip, a few of these teams, where do they go from here? The Deluxes, the Assassins, TNT. What's the next step?
Yeah, I think moving forward, it'd be interesting to see, like, Deluxe is kind of like us. They have some veterans, some young guys coming up to the C level who are going to be taught the right way to play the game throughout and not be able to get away with some of the sensible stuff that happens at a lower level when you're just playing with your friends. The Assassins, I expect to keep continuing to improve. Like I said in the beginning, when you have a pitcher like Augie, they've been around for a while, it's time for them to step up and get moving to where they need to be. And that tournament there was the first step in a lot of many going forward, I think, of positive things for them.
Absolutely. So a great tournament top to bottom. Thanks for the teams that came out. We had 9 strong teams in the men's open, and it was definitely a good tournament for us from the director's level. So let's move on to the men's E.
Jim, we did have the men's E at the Guillotine as well. Started off with teams having to be off site a little bit because of certain things. Touch on that for us, please.
Sure. As a lot of you are aware, we did lose some fields at Mercer. The Special Olympics bumped us from 1 or 2 of those fields in the back, including 2 of the fence fields. We also lost Moody Field in Ewing throughout the week. So for me, it was definitely a challenging week. We were able to find some fields, put it together, but we appreciated some of the teams dealing with a pool play game here and there in an open field. It was definitely a very good tournament, though, on the E level. I was very happy.
And if you would also, I'd like to hear about the semifinal matchups between 10 Guys and Red Eye Sports, and then Raw Talent Dreamworn, if you'd be kind enough.
I didn't get a chance to watch the Raw Talent Dreamworn game, so I can't really comment on that. By all accounts, that was a well-played game on both sides. I was happy to see Dreamworn make the Final Four. They were not a team I had in the Final Four going into the tournament. A very, very strong day for Dreamworn. Now, the game I did see was the 10 Guys versus Red Eye Sports from Delaware. That was a very intense game back and forth. It's the first time I got to see Red Eye play coming up from Delaware. They have some very, very good players. They also have a very intense cheering section. So I was very impressed with Red Eye. They persevered through a little bit of a layoff, and they gave 10 Guys everything that those 10 guys could handle. Now, in the finals, Raw Talent and 10 Guys, those teams have played each other before. Right. So, you know, that, Rip, you didn't get to see it, but that was a game that really was very intense. And last inning, I've never seen a softball game like this. I can tell you that 10 Guys went into it with a 12-run lead going into the bottom of the seventh. Raw Talent put up 11 runs. Very, very intense game, top to bottom.
Jim,
nice tournament.
It's like I said in our first basement chat when we previewed the conference. 10 guys as a team you don't want to see show up at the tournament. They're going to be in it thick and thin. They come to play hard every inning of every game. And we know the talent that Raw Talent has, obviously.
Absolutely.
Jim, also down at the Guillotine was the women's portion of the Guillotine. Give us a quick recap of that, would you?
Well, I wasn't at Reddington for the women's, but I can tell you that my dark horse pick, Rip, Dirty Habit from Long Island, coached by the lovely Juliette Murphy, was the team that came out on top. Now, Dirty Habit was a team that going into the tournament wasn't on the radar. The Long Island Hurricanes, Connecticut Storm, some of those teams, early morning favorites. Dirty Habit, they came to play. They ate their Wheaties in the morning. 4 games, won them all by the run rule, including crosstown rival Hurricanes. So,
well done, ladies. Well done.
Absolutely. I can tell you that the Hurricanes and Storm had a 34-32 game in the semifinals. That may have taken a little bit of the wind out of the sails of the Hurricanes.
Listen,
Dirty Habit game.
That's why you don't want to be in that position, right?
That's right. Absolutely. So, great women's tournament. We thank the ladies for coming out. We'll be back in Linden on the 14th for the Buffalo Wild Wings Open. So, Co-ed NIT. Rip, you were down keeping an eye on things at the Co-ed NIT down in Brick. You know, the E-bracket, we had a nice final between the Long Island Storm and the High Haters. There was good showing from the High Haters, one of our New Jersey teams. Even Tiny had a game-winning hit. Is this the year that the High Haters might make a little bit of noise down at the World?
First, I want to shout out to Tiny real quick. He finally gets to have bragging rights in his house for a week.
Holla.
Right? I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, is this the year High Haters makes a noise at the Worlds? I think with the pickups they made on the men's side, yes, they have the ability. If the women, as in co-ed, as you know, your women carry you as far as possible.
Correct.
If the women catch up to the men a little bit more, anything's possible. That's why they play the game.
Absolutely. But nice job by Coach Rodriguez.
Oh, absolutely great. Absolutely great job by them.
Absolutely. So a nice showing by Long Island Storm, double dipping to win the E bracket. Now moving on to the D. Again, the Assassins co-ed back in form. There were some very, very good performances by the Assassins, but in my opinion, the attitude was there, Rip. You know, they were ready to play.
You know, as some people know, I had the presence of being there and watching the game. I think when they started out a little bit early, they came out, kind of got ahead, got all right, lackluster for a little bit, and then Tommy got in them a little bit. The spark was lit.
That's
and
right.
It was a team with a different approach from that point going forward.
They look like a different team than the first tournament. I will definitely say that. Now, Assassins have won in Disney before, a few years ago. Can they go down this year and win another ring?
Listen, but with the talent they have, yes, I think they'll be in the thick of things. Again, you know, as anybody knows in co-ed, it's the girls. They have a plethora of talent with the women on their roster.
Sure.
The men I expect to be there. It's no different than what they're playing every weekend at the men's level. So, yeah, they should be down there when the chips come down. They should be the last guy holding the stack.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing it myself. Now, we had something that has not happened in the D's in quite some time. Actually, I can't remember it at all. We had an all-New Jersey final. GPS Landscaping, Rip, tell me about that team.
I think GPS Landscaping is a team that's stepping up this year from E, going into the D level of the co-ed program. They got some things to figure out, but the talent's there. You know, the talent's there.
I mean, on my sheet here, I made a note. I think GPS kind of came of age with this tournament. They stepped into the D. They know now that they can handle that level of competition.
Right.
You know, how far can third baseman coach Vicky Lamb and the Bash brothers, Barkey and Bendel, how far can those three carry them at this level?
Well, I think the first message that Coach Vicky Lamb and Coach Josh need to address the team is, hey, look, we do belong here. You know, we do belong here. We can compete at this level.
Exactly.
And then they're going to go as far as Bendel on the mound pitching for them and Barkey leading off and hitting and playing shortstop. lets them go, and a couple other guys chipping in.
Sure, at any level of softball, you can't be looking in the rear view. You've got to be looking forward, and that's what GPS
And,
is.
and they have women that can hit it, right? We got Vicky Lamb, Laura Maloney's another one who can thump it. So, I mean, future's promising.
Now, to change gears a little bit, again, congratulations to all of our co-ed teams, Assassins, GPS, Long Island Storm High Haters, all of our finals. Now, we talked a little bit on the basement chat about Above All, moving back over to the men's majors. Above All is heading out to Columbus this week. Your thoughts on the Columbus major and how will Above All fare?
Columbus Major, 30 conference teams, odd-shaped fields, turf infields, grass outfields, and a plethora of talent. They open up tonight, 6 p.m. against Rebel Sports, a B team. I fully expect them to go out and win that game.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're going to win it handily. You know, you got flight jet lag, but that's no excuse. They should get out and get the job done, which would potentially set them up for 11 a.m. game on Saturday against one of the best teams in the conference, which would be the Scene out of Long Island.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that'd
So
be a great game.
that could be a doozy too, but you know, early in the morning game, they may be able to catch the Scene off guard if they go out and play their game. And you know, Coach Doc and Joe and Jerry got everybody ready to rock and roll.
Well, you know that the coaching staff will have them ready to go.
It won't be an easy weekend, it'll be a long one, but I expect them to do well.
There you go. Good luck to Above All competing in the Columbus Major this week. Now, just to touch on some of our leaders in the D Conference, we had the coaches send in some of their stats. We need the coaches to send in their stats throughout the year. PSB, Jason Ballas, Brent Dempsey, Jason Seaberger. From the Assassins, Orlando Rodriguez, Frank Morano, Jason Lerman, Just a Cut, Mike Perone. Now, Rip, this is a guy who has a lot of upside, Mike Perone. He's hitting 904 in the conference.
Listen, I played against him and watched him play the game before. He hit the brakes off the ball.
Yeah, that is not a guy. Me, in my former life as a pitcher, that is not the guy I want to see coming to the plate.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's that many that want to see anybody really in the middle. But Mike can definitely hit the ball as hard as anybody.
That's right. From Just a Cut, also Russ Hopkins, Jack Rice, Ewing Dirt, Sean Lathers, Ryan Elder, Chris Zesnak. From the Dragons, Walt Meisenbacher, Anthony Roberts, the coach, hitting a nice 688, Mike Lawrence, and then from South Jersey Extreme, Chris Rauner and Chris Gabriel. So those are some of the leaders in the D Conference. Again, please, coaches, send in your stats. Looking at some of the leaders in the E Conference, Garrett Gardner from Ease Irish Pub hitting 842, Pat Barton hitting 796, and Coach Bill Shallcross leading the conference in doubles with 7.
Not to cut you off, but when you're playing the E, you're hitting that level and you got 30 RBIs in a couple of tournaments, something's going right.
That's right. Mr. Barton swinging a very hot bat. So Billy Shallcross doing a nice job with these Irish. Titan Trucking, Greg Crone, 778, G Money, 667, Matt Hunter. Raw Talent, Rob Perhoda, Chris Giambrone, Steve Giambrone, and 10 guys. John Bly, the MVP of the tournament, Gary Bush, Denny Aquino, and Mike Kane, also all tournaments. So, Rip, this weekend we have the moon landing.
Yes, we do.
So,
absolutely.
It should be a nice field. Well, let's hope by the time you're all watching this, it's not raining. In the D, we've got Unique Image from Delaware, South Jersey Extreme, Kakembas, Mohawk, Ewing Dirt, and Pipe. Rip, any thoughts there?
I'd like to see what the QT Kakembas team comes down and does, and I would like to see what the Pipe also brings to the table, because Pipe's known to be a gritty, always there in the end when it counts type of team.
Absolutely. I think South Jersey Extreme has a good chance at this tournament. They very strong at the NIT, and I think they should be in the mix.
I think they're right on the edge of just getting to that over the hump part, and once they get there, they're going to be a handful from here on out.
Sure. And in the E, we have most of the E conference teams. Rip, I don't know if you have a pick in the E this week. I know there's a couple teams I'm looking at, but any thoughts on the E?
I'm going to go with Red Eye.
Okay.
A little salty about last week at the Guillotine. Coming in, driving back up here again. I don't think they're coming up to hang out. I think they're coming up to make a statement if Mother Nature holds off.
Yeah, Mother Nature holds that. That was one of the teams I was looking at. 10 guys should be in the mix, and hey, Dreamhorn's coming off a Final Four, so I think those are a couple teams that are out there.
And I wouldn't count out East Irish Pub either. My boys, the Broad Street Bullies.
Your favorite team. Before we move on to the main event here of the questions, the next big event in New Jersey will be June 4th in Brick, Rip. The USSSA Evo 9X High Low to be held at Drum Point Park. A lot of the big boys. TNT will be there on June 4th. Is that an event you guys have circled on TNT's calendar?
Yeah, absolutely it is. With the list of teams that already entered into the tournament, Czech King coming down from Connecticut to test themselves and see what kind of softball New Jersey has to offer. You have the Assassins back in, South Jersey Extremes, Diamond Nation, Ewing Dirt, Just a Cut. All the teams that were pretty much in the Guillotine coming back for that tournament, and the possible rumor of maybe Above All showing their faces.
Well, I'd like to see them. They are the defending champions, and
True story.
They are certainly a possibility for June 4th. So that will do it for our normal program here on the Basement Chat. But something we promised and something we had talked about leading up to this third edition of Basement Chat. Rip, I don't know if you're ready, but we have 10 questions for you.
Let's give it a shot, see what we got here.
All right, let's see. The first question comes from Billy Lester from the Young Guns. Rip, awesome stuff with the Basement Chat. Thanks for what you and Jim both are doing for the softball community. My question is for Rip. Tournaments can sometimes be long. How many bodies is the best number, in your opinion, to bring to the tournament?
If you're going to a tournament, you have to have minimum 12 bodies. If you're going to a longer tournament, especially Worlds, you want to have 13, possibly 14. I mean, you get in a loser's bracket, you shorten the length of your lineup by getting to 10 guys and playing your best 10 at a time, but you're always going to need that 1, 2, possibly a third or fourth extra guy because of injuries or whatever reason to be ready to step in and step up and perform at any given time.
Okay.
Appreciate the question, Bill.
There you go. Next question, Timmy Westerside from AMG Above All. Rip, what teams in any class do you think can do well in Florida this year at the Worlds?
Tim, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a big homer. I like to think that every team from Jersey that goes down there has an odds of chance of winning any tournament. I think this year, and I'll say it again, playing with the proper softball the entire year, I think the Assassins have a good chance. I think my team, TNT, the Deluxe team, I think the Above All D team, and I think Luke Forest, the South Jersey Extreme team in the D level, if they get it going, can do something. And I love the E teams that are heading out, which would be your raw talent, your 10 guys, and a couple others heading out that direction. Your Dream Warren, you know, there's a lot of teams heading out. I think everybody has a possible chance of doing well, and I always pull for the home team. So I like our odds going anywhere.
Absolutely. And, you know, on my side, Tim, I got to tell you, I think one of those teams in the D will be in the top 10 this year. I'd be very surprised if we didn't have one. So
I would be surprised if we didn't have a lot of top 10 finishes at all levels.
There you go. Now, Rip, the next question is anonymous. Which Kenny is playing better this year for TNT, Donaldson or Nieves?
I'll give you the easy answer. It's Kenny Nieves, but for one reason, in my opinion only, this is not the slight what Kenny Nieves has done for us the entire year, simply because Kenny Donaldson's been out with a broken thumb. Played one tournament, played half that tournament with a broken thumb, went 14 for 17, 824 clip.
Okay.
That'll tell you the talent level that kid has.
It's a very high level of talent, in my opinion.
Him coming back to us is probably going to be the hugest pickup you could have the entire year, would be some guy like him. But it's not the downplay what Kenny Nieves has done. Base hit it from line to line, and he's actually got pop in his bat, which was a pleasant surprise for me to see out of a guy that size frame. And he's played exceptionally well. He's done whatever Coach Todd and I have asked him to do.
And this is a guy who's done it the right way. He got in, started playing the leagues, got into the E-ball, bettered his game, and moved up the ladder.
That's the way it's supposed to be done.
That's right. The next question is also anonymous, from a different anonymous email. Rick, do you feel USSSA should start rating E players and teams? Should we stop some of the sandbagging?
I would say, do you need to rate E players? No. I think it's unnecessary. I think there should be a rule nationwide for the U-Trip with the E level is that you play 2 years of E. After that, you're not allowed to play an E no matter what happens.
Second part of the question, could you comprise a list of some of the players who should not be playing E any longer?
If I sat down with a whole list of players, yes, I'm pretty sure I can compile a list of a lot of people that shouldn't be at a lot of levels.
Okay. Our next question comes from Greg from New Hope, Pennsylvania. How can I stop hitting the ball so hard? I've tried dropping the weight of my bat and slowing my hands and going old school. Do I have to swing lefty or swing non-composite and go old school?
I don't mean to laugh, and I apologize, Greg, on your question. There's no such thing as hitting the ball too hard. That's an absolutely ridiculous statement. What you need to do is learn to make adjustments on where you're hitting the ball. The top of the ball, the middle of the ball, the bottom of the ball, where you stand in the batter's box. But no, the question is you never want to stop hitting the ball hard. That's the premise. The harder the ball's hit, the more likely you're to have hits.
Next question, moving on. This question is from Anthony Padavano from Tampa, Florida. Rick, you picked Wrap It Up to win the E Conference. What's wrong with this team? They have too much talent to go 0-3 or 1-2 every week. How would you fix this?
Real simple. First thing you got to do is get guys to the tournament before the tournament starts, not walk up at game time. Get your pregame BP in, get your work in during the week, and play the game the right way. Too much talent to keep showing up and going 1-2, 0-3, 1-3, 2-3. So what? Show up, get ready to play, be ready to play.
A lot of upside there. Hopefully those guys can get moving. Next question is Bill Shawcross from Philadelphia. Hey, Rip, where did you come up with the name Broad Street Bullies for our team, which is E's Irish Pub?
Bill, I'll be honest with you. Lifelong Philadelphia Flyer fan. No other answer. You boys are down from PA. Broad Street Bullies it is.
Our next question is from Smitty from Danella, New Jersey. Rip, great job with the basement chat. Holla. Now, if you could only get someone better than Pilla, you'd be all set. Holla. My question is, I eat at Wrap It Up Grill every day. Would you consider hosting a straight up segment of basement chat there? I will buy you and Pilla free wraps. Holla.
Smitty, thank you first of all for the props. Second of all, it is a possibility that we could definitely do a segment at Wrap It Up. Although instead of wraps, I prefer probably something like a chewy chip away for myself. As far as Jim, he's with me for the long haul.
Well, I go where Rip goes. The next question, one of my favorites, Doc from Above All. Hey Rip, great job with the basement chat. That Bobby McMinn on your TNT team, he is one hell of a ball player, one of the best. Is he behaving for you and Coach Todd?
Yeah, Bobby's absolutely. Just listen, if you know Bobby, you're gonna know Bobby's a little unhinged at times, mostly because of his competitive spirit. He just wants to win. Doesn't think anybody on the field is better than him when he's playing, and that kind of exudes at him. But yeah, Doc, he's behaving, sir.
Okay, our last question of the 10. This comes from Chris Yee from Old Bridge, New Jersey. Rip, great job you and Jim on the basement chat. As you know, I take a lot of BP. I do BP at least 2 times per day and sometimes even more. Now that I'm a D-ball player, I am perfecting my home run swing. My problem is sometimes I have to sneak out since I have chores and housework to do. What is your best excuse to give someone so you can go and take extra BP?
Chris, thank you for the props again for me and Jim, but there's no excuse. I mean, if you can't be upfront and honest, you got a problem at home or wherever else you're telling lies to go get your swings in. Continue to put the work in, buddy. Good things are bound to happen, pal.
Now, Rip, we were about to close this out, but I got a text here, and looks like it's from G Money, which would be his second question. So let me see what this has to say. Rip, I know you and Jim are big WWE fans. I would enjoy hearing your opinion on my favorite tag team, The New Day. Where do you both feel they stack up with the all-time great teams like the Fabulous Freebirds, the Road Warriors, Demolition, and the Dudley Boys?
Gee, buddy, thanks for the question, buddy. In all honesty, yeah, I am a lifelong WWE guy. My kids are into it. The question about New Day, they are what's hot right now in the tag team faction. They got it all. The wrestling talent, the promo talent, but as far as where they got to get to the level of the Fabulous Freebirds, Animal and Hawk, and the Dudleys, I don't count the Demolition. They were a flash in the pan for a hot minute. They got a long way to go, but I'll tell you this much, buddy. Eat your bootios so you ain't booty.
That's right. Very good, Rip. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Basement Chat. We enjoyed doing it. We'll be back for the next edition 4 of Basement Chat with a special guest for all of you.
Appreciate it, folks. Be sure to tune in. Thanks a lot.
We'll see you guys.
Have a nice day.